Welcome friends. Now we are entering into the 23rd session of this course on manufacturing strategy. In last few sessions, we discussed two important things. One, we discussed the process of developing the manufacturing strategy, and we analyzed the entire process, which starts from understanding the market and then what will be the output of your manufacturing strategy. During that discussion, we also discussed one very important contribution came from Roth and Miller, which was a study done in 1989 and it was published in 1994. The study was mainly comprised of few North American organizations, particularly manufacturing organizations, and that taxonomy which was given by Roth and Miller became the most popular taxonomy of manufacturing strategy. Or you can say the meaning of taxonomy is that generic strategies for manufacturing strategy. That is the meaning of taxonomy, and Roth and Miller can be said to be the first contributor developing that type of taxonomy. And in this session, we will review the contribution of Roth and Miller and subsequent contribution by other researchers like Dixon. But the most important part of today's session is to discuss evidences of manufacturing strategy from China, because we all know that in present circumstances China has become the manufacturing superpower of the world, but there is very little literature, there is almost no literature available for Chinese manufacturing. Before China, Japan was considered to be one of the superpower related to manufacturing, and we have sufficient amount of literature. We know what are the important drivers of manufacturing in Japan, but due to various reasons there is not enough literature, rather there is no literature available for the Chinese manufacturing. In this particular session, we are trying to discuss something about Chinese manufacturing system, because as we all know, whether it is US, Europe or any other country, manufacturing is slowly shifting to China. So what is the secret of success of Chinese manufacturing? Most of the time that secret is centered around cost, that we say that Chinese manufacturing provide low cost advantage. So therefore, to tap that low cost advantage, all global manufacturers are making their facilities in China. But it is not only the low cost, but there are many other capabilities which different Chinese manufacturers are developing over a period of time, and as a result of that China is able to maintain a global superpower in case of manufacturing for last more than 15 years. So in this particular session, we will like to see that what type of taxonomy, what type of manufacturing strategy taxonomy is suitable for China, whether it is similar to Roth and Miller or it is something different. That is the major content of this session. Now quickly let us review what Roth and Miller had said about manufacturing taxonomy. In one of our earlier session also we have discussed about the contribution of Roth and Miller. Roth and Miller did their study on 188 North American organizations. So all these 188 manufacturing companies were in the America, and they took their sample, they developed a questionnaire, and based on that they classified the manufacturing organizations in three categories: caretakers, marketeers and innovators. And this became a very popular classification of manufacturing organizations. But in their study, the paper which was published in Management Science in 1994, in that Rothenmiller emphasized that since the data was collected only from North American organizations, so it requires a global validity. Whether similar type of taxonomy is applicable in other part of the globe also, and therefore, there is a requirement of global data collection. Now, if we quickly see what was the meaning of caretaker, marketeer and innovator, you can understand that caretakers were those who were reluctant in developing any type of competing abilities, any type of new capabilities. So, they were satisfied with their present situation. So, they were the caretakers. Marketeers were those organizations, those were changing their product profile, those were changing their quality, those they were able to fulfill the requirement of the customers. So, as per the need of the markets, these organizations were able to modify, these organizations were able to react with respect to their offerings. Innovator organizations were those organizations who were anticipating that how the market will change, and before market could do those kind of things, before market could realize those type of things, these organizations were able to offer those qualifiers and winners in their products. So, they were ahead of market, you can say innovators were ahead of market and they were driving the market. What changes were happening in the market, and according to those changes these organizations were adjusting their offerings. Caretakers were very reluctant to develop any kind of new capabilities and they were satisfied with their present scenario. So, these were the three types of organizations which were defined by Roth and Miller. But as I said, the limitation they mentioned, and they also emphasized that there is a need of validation of this study with pan continental data, and that happened after few years, maybe around 8 years of time. In 2001, Dixon and Frolick, they came, this study was published in year 2001, where they collected data not only from North America, but they collected data from various South American countries also, and they collected data from some of the European countries also. So, they collected data from North America, South America and Europe, and when they collected this data, they found that the classification of Roth and Miller is not globally acceptable. The kind of organizations, caretaker, marketeers and innovators which Roth and Miller suggested may not be applicable to rest of the part. And in their paper, which is available in Journal of Operations Management, Frolick and Dixon mentioned that some of these taxonomies were applicable in some specific countries, but there is no universal agreement about the taxonomies of Roth and Miller. So, 2 points came into prominence as a result of this study, as a conclusion of this study, that one, with the passage of time, manufacturing strategy taxonomies may change. As we discussed in case of order winners and qualifiers, same thing applies about the generic manufacturing strategies, that these may change with passage of time, and these may also change as you move from one country to another country, or you can say you move from one market to another market. So, there are two levels of changes, and therefore, we continuously need to evolve, we continuously need to study the markets, so that what type of current requirements are there, and according to those requirements we can suggest what generic strategies are possible in the current scenario. Since we have discussed this point many a times, that not much research is happening or not much research has happened in the area of operations strategy. Therefore, we get very few literature and at a enough interval about the taxonomies of manufacturing strategy. So, Frolick and Dixon they suggested 3 different types of organizations. These are idlers, servers and mass customizers. So, now idlers are, you can say, somehow similar to the idea of those organizations which are caretaker according to Roth and Miller. So, to some extent idlers are similar to caretakers because they were also not very much willing to do anything new. So, it may be the simply the differentiation of name between Miller and Roth and Dixon and Frolick, but idlers and caretakers are more or less similar when they do not want to acquire any new capabilities. Now, servers are those types of organizations where the focus is not only on developing products as per the customer requirements, but you also take into account how fast you are able to deliver, and not only deliver, you also take into account after sales services. And the concept of customer relationship management also became a very important key idea about the server organizations, that these organizations try to maintain a complete loop, complete relationship right from you start purchasing the product to finally you consume the product in totality. So, these are the server organizations which develop a long term relationship with their customers. And then mass customizers. Now, mass customizers are those organizations where the focus is on how to fulfill the unique requirements of the customer. Now, here very interestingly, the focus was less on quality, rather focus was more on design flexibility, volume flexibility, delivery flexibility. So, the focus became more on the flexibility related dimensions, and that is a very unique finding with respect to manufacturing taxonomy, that now the focus is on flexibility, and for the first time people realized that flexibility can be a very important order winning criteria, that how to develop design, volume, delivery flexibility, so that as per the requirement of the customer you can deliver either in quick time or in long time, whether you can deliver in smaller volumes or large volumes, whether you can deliver different types of products. So, all these different types of flexibilities were incorporated in mass customizers. So, you want to serve the masses, you want to serve the large number of customers, and at the same time you want to attain this flexibility. So, this was not at all, this mass customizer kind of concept was not at all available in the Roth and Miller taxonomy, but now this became a very important type of characteristic of manufacturing organizations, that organizations were trying to achieve the customer satisfaction by mass customizers, and they became more and more flexible, and particularly this was possible because of involvement of automation into the manufacturing arena. More automation helped the organizations to achieve the idea of mass customizers. So, this is the second important taxonomy which was developed, and it was not actually the development of this new taxonomy. The idea of Frolick and Dixon was to just empirically test the Roth and Miller taxonomy with the global data. So, that was their idea, but during that study itself, when they realized that the universal acceptability or universal validation of Roth and Miller taxonomy is not possible. So, they came with this different taxonomy, idlers, servers and mass customizers. Now, having studied these two important taxonomies, Now we go to Chinese organizations, where a paper is available about the manufacturing taxonomy in the Chinese organizations, and there are some authors Zhou, Sum, Q, Zhang and Li. These five authors gave a 4 type of manufacturing strategies, 4 type of generic manufacturing strategy, which they developed after studying a large number of manufacturing organization. They studied some 1352 manufacturing organizations in different provinces of China, and after doing that study they came with this 4 types of manufacturing taxonomy, and these 4 are quality customizers, low emphasizers, mass servers and specialized contractors. So, they said that primarily Chinese organizations were known for the low cost. So, the original idea of Chinese manufacturing capability was to produce products at low cost, and low cost products were possible because most of the Chinese organizations were doing labor intensive manufacturing activity, and labor was available to China in abundance. So, therefore, able to reduce the cost of product by reducing their labor cost, and low cost because of low labor cost became a success mantra for Chinese organizations. But later on we have realized that it is not only in those low cost products, but Chinese products are available across the horizon, across the spectrum, and you find Chinese products in very sophisticated engineering arena also, and therefore, it is not simply this low cost, but there are some other factors also which are contributing in the success of Chinese manufacturing, and therefore, it is interesting or it is rather important to understand what are the strategies, what is the phenomena which is driving the success of Chinese manufacturing, and therefore, this part of this session is very very important. Now, quality customizers, according to the authors, quality customizers are those types of organizations which are developing their capabilities to cater to a wide range of customer requirements. And since there are two words, one is quality and another is customizers. Now, when I talk of customizers, it means ability to provide products for the individual requirement. So, that is the first part, that you need to develop capability to fulfill the wide range of customer requirements. That is one part, and second is these wide range of product should also be conforming to the quality. So, there are two types of things are available with the quality customizers, that these companies, these organizations offer wide range of products, and at the same time they are able to maintain, they are able to adhere to the specifications laid down by their design departments. So, quality customizers are, and it is very much evident also with our practical experience that we see that large number of Chinese products are available. So, there is a wide variety of products, and most of these products nowadays are achieving very high level of quality specifications. So, these are quality customizers organizations. Now, the quality customizer organizations, they are having the abilities to change and modify products or design to accommodate the changes in manufacturing, and these are the important manufacturing capability, that how you incorporate manufacturing setup, how you choose a particular type of process, so that when you are manufacturing wide variety of products, your manufacturing processes can support that. So, your whole idea of developing the capability is centered around this particular aspect, that yes, we will be developing capabilities, and most of these organizations therefore lay emphasis on things like FMS, that flexible manufacturing system, how to develop that kind of capability which can help us in achieving high degree of customization, and at the same time with that customization we are also achieving the quality. So, that is the first type of organizations, Chinese organizations. The second type of Chinese organizations are low emphasizers. Now, low emphasizers are those organizations which are similar to, you can say, to some extent like caretakers and idlers. So, idlers and caretakers where they are not very willing to develop new capabilities. So, here also these low emphasizers have low emphasis on the competitive capabilities compared to other type of clusters, other type of taxonomies. Now, why some organization, when the market is moving so competitive, why you can think that organizations can exist, organizations can survive without any emphasis on developing new capabilities? This is a very important question, and I will like to give some input from my side, but in our forums I will like to get more inputs from my participants, that why or how any organization can survive without acquiring new capabilities. Now, when I say that organizations are doing or there is no emphasis on acquiring new capabilities, the meaning can be, one, that you are living, you are operating in an environment where you do not have any competition. So, when you do not have any competition, you become reluctant to acquire new capabilities. So, that is one possibility, that because there is no competition, and it is quite possible that competition is not there either because you are operating in a protected environment. So, you have a protected environment and therefore, you do not want to acquire any new capability. So, if you think of India and pre-liberalization, pre-1991 scenario, if you see, many of the Indian organizations were low emphasizers. The reason was very simple, because at that time they were enjoying lot of protection from the state, and as a result of those protections they never thought of getting or improving their capabilities, strengthening their capabilities, and this was one very important reason which is there in the organizations, that if you have a special protection because of which you feel that there is no need to develop any additional capability, you remain low emphasizers, you remain caretaker, you remain idlers kind of thing. But as we all understand that markets are moving into the direction of competition, markets are becoming open and liberal day by day. So, it will be almost impossible for new organizations or even the existing organizations to survive without acquiring additional capabilities. So, I do not think that low emphasizers will have long time, they will need to do some kind of strategy adoption, either 1, 3 or 4, but there are significant number of Chinese organizations which are in category of low emphasizers. Then the third type of organizations are mass servers. Now, mass servers are those organizations, those who are serving the masses. So, they are servicing the mass customers through a variety of manufacturing capabilities. Now, if you recall, the first type of manufacturing strategy is the quality customizers. So, they were providing wide variety of products, and all those wide variety of products were having the quality conformance. But here in case of mass servers, these are serving the masses, and in their servicing to the masses, they are providing a good variety of capabilities, and these variety of capabilities include quality, a very wide product line, the low cost, faster deliveries. All these capabilities are included in servicing the masses. So, therefore, mass servers are there. So, depending upon what type of capability you require, you means as a customer you require, that type of capability is used to serve that particular customer. So, it is a very holistic kind of manufacturing strategy, where you are developing lot of manufacturing capabilities, and not only manufacturing capabilities, but you are also developing after sale services. In India also, we understand that we purchase large number of products where after sale services are easily available. If after sale services are available in my hometown, I will like to purchase that product. But if that service is not available in my hometown, I will be slightly reluctant, even if the quality is good, even if the price is low, but after sale service has become a very important criteria nowadays. And this mass servers, according to this taxonomy, the third type of generic strategy from Chinese organizations, they have emphasized with various manufacturing capabilities on this after sale services also, and they are serving the masses. So, to a particular customer A, maybe the quality related dimension is used, and for the customer B, cost related dimension is used. So, your organization is able to provide for different customers different type of manufacturing capability. So, that is mass servers. Then we come to fourth type of organizations. These are specialized contractors. Now, these specialized contractors are those organizations which are not serving wide variety of products. They may be serving only some limited amount of products, limited variety of products. So, their product line is not a long product line. Now, they are following speed, cost, quality conformance, performance conformance. These are the important capabilities these organizations develop, and they also have some kind of specific ability to serve some specific customer. So, like if I am only specialized in developing the overhead tanks, so I will only be developing the overhead tanks, I will not be developing other kind of buildings. If I am specialized in developing highways, so I will only make highways. So, I will have limited flexibilities. So, like flexibility attributes which are change in volume, change in design, etc., I give less importance to these types of attributes, these types of winners and qualifying characteristics. So, here in this kind of cluster, in this type of organizations which are specialized contractors, our focus is more on some limited customers. I am not going to serve the masses, I am going to serve some limited customers, and I am going to fulfill their requirements on the basis of speed, on the basis of their quality requirements, on the basis of cost also, but I will not be going for wide variety of products. I will only be focusing on limited number of products which are required by that limited number of customers. So, that is the specialized contractors. So, there are some specific companies, like you talk of a company like Amul. So, they have some specific requirement of cold chain. So, the servers of cold chain to the Amul, they are specialized contractors which are fulfilling the requirement of cold chain for Amul. So, they are not the generic kind of logistics provider, they are the specialized contractors. So, similar contractors are available in other fields also. So, they are against the idea of masses. So, we saw that according to Chinese system, there are few organizations which are serving the masses, which are serving the limited number of customers, and there are organizations which are not at all willing to acquire any kind of capability. So, these are low emphasizer. So, these are the 4 type of capabilities which are proposed by these authors, and based on these things, we can also think of developing manufacturing strategy taxonomies for other part of the world also, and particularly we can suggest a manufacturing strategy taxonomy for Indian manufacturing organizations also, based on the inputs given from Roth and Miller, then Dixon, and then taking the inputs of Chinese organizations. It is good time that we come up with a taxonomy for Indian manufacturing organizations also. So, with this we come to end of this session. Thank you very much.